Yo, what's good, comic fam? Hit the description, join the March Mystery Mail Call. We got two amazing exclusives going out to every member. The first is Peach Momoko's first interior work done at Marvel, Demon Days, a blacklight cover by the very talented Mike McCone. The second exclusive is Joker #1. You're gonna get one version of this incredible cover done by the art director of God of War, Raph Grissetti. Enjoy this video. It's part 2 of the Todd McFarlane interview. Make sure to check out part 1 and comment down below what your favorite Todd McFarlane cover is. It'll enter you to win an ASM 298, his first time drawing the web slinger. Enjoy your video. Since we're chatting about collectibles and some of these like key moments that collectors enjoy to own, and I'm wanting to hear your thoughts about a subcategory of collectibles because it ties directly to Spawn that's emerged in the last, like, I would say 7 months, which is marketing ads, previews, catalogs becoming more collectible and more sought out after than even the comic books that they solicit. And I bring it back to Previews 92 issue 3, the catalog I was introduced to that's worth over $500 and is a major Spawn collectible, but it's a catalog. What do you think about this phenomenon?
It's just an extension of collecting, right? Because once you get the big book, which Spawn 1, okay, fine, and you have that, you now have to start going either left or right of that book, right? Sure. So obviously the next one is 2 and 3, and you go up. But the other ones that I've seen from time to time, because I've signed a decent amount at shows, that people bring me this other book called Rust. And I don't know why, because there's some kind of ad. I don't know. But I see it. There's something in there that they seem to care about.
Yeah, there's a handful of them that have like a marketing ad of Spawn around that time.
Right, and then there's even the Malibu Suns that were out. Right, yeah. Those are tough to come by a little bit. But yeah, I mean, collecting's cool, right? And so even if you just do it for yourself because you want it, but if now it's $500 for a diamond preview book, shoot.
Right, and CGC won't even grade it because it's so thick. But since you mentioned Malibu Sun, I gotta take the time to ask. Another subcategory that has direct ties of Spawn that to this day is some of the most aggressively sought after collectibles is the unintended variant that issue had. And I'm sure you've seen it. The back cover, it's green. It was like an error print. Is that something that has any story behind it? Was it just a one-off thing? You forgot about it? Or
we got to be clear at times between a variant and a mistake.
Absolutely.
Right. So sometimes there are mistakes that are made, human error, and along the line at the printing press. Right. Mm-hmm. So for instance, if you look at Spawn #1, if you open up the inside front cover, you're going to see, depending on how many copies you have, there's actually 2 versions of it. There's one in which the orb, the Spawn orb, is clean. And then there's one where there was a bunch of glitches, like in its splotchy, right? And so there's 2 of them. I wish I could say that one or the other was only like 5% of the run.
Right.
It's not true. They were printing so many books at that point. We saw some and went, whoa, somebody clean, like the glitchy ones were coming out first. We go, hey, stop it. You got blotches on it. I want to say it's about 55-45, 60-40. It's in that range of like one over the other. So it's not a dramatic difference between the 2, but a lot of people even to this day don't know that if you have multiple copies of Spawn, you look on the inside, there may be a variation from a mistake at the printers because somebody didn't clean the roller heads.
There's this like weird excitement that we collectors get with those types of situations, but then when you think about the history, it's probably a stressful time. You're seeing this work of art that you just put all these hours into, and now there's a mistake going on, and you're running to the printing press. So I always thought that.
Well, look at. I also do toys, and
absolutely.
And, every now and then you'll get one, and they pack it upside down, right? And
right.
They go, oh my God, I got this variant. It's like, not a variant, but it's a mistake. They shouldn't have packed it upside down, but it's kind of cool. Right. I bet you there's only a couple of them because they shouldn't be packing them upside down. Can you find somebody else who finds it equally cool so you can sell it to them at any time? Possibly.
I would love to chat about some intentional variants. In
Okay.
2019, I covered the road to 300 for months. It was a fantastic time. But aside from getting Spawn and Spidey collectors involved, which you accomplished hands down and broke some amazing numbers for that year, I believe it was like next to this other comic that's sitting next to me, Detective 1000, which like
It was number 2.
which was like, what a great book to be next to.
It was the second biggest selling book of 2019. And if you went and looked at the top 11, I wish I could say 10, but top 11 selling books of 2019, there was only one title that had 2 of them, and it was called Spawn, right?
There you go.
This is that thing that sometimes I like to puff my chest out a little bit, going, there was no Spider-Man in there. There was no Avenger in there. There was no Thor, let alone 2. There was only one title that had 2, and it was called Spawn, right? And it's like, oh, by the way, there's 3 or 4 of us putting that book together, and Marvel and DC that are owned by Disney and Warner Brothers, they employed tens of thousands of people, and you got like 2 or 3 of us beating you at your own game. Come on, guys, pick up the slack, right? So sometimes bigger doesn't necessarily mean better, or vice versa, the other way around. So we just went head to head, and we ended up doing okay with it.
Well, to my surprise, instead of just harnessing the legacy of those 3 digits that I'll love to chat with you about in a moment, it was much more than that. This was a time where at our LCS, we saw more individuals getting into Spawn more than ever. And it, I believe, had to do more than those 3 issues, 298 to 300. Can you expand on that? What made this successful? Because I feel like it started before that and even set up stuff later. I
remember going to the retailer summit in Vegas, which is where I sort of announced my plans for 300. Okay. And although the news for 300 was big and I knew it was going to work, to me, that was sort of almost a low hanging fruit, right? That's like opening up a big blockbuster movie. You know, you're going to get the numbers on opening weekend. The question is, what are you going to get the next week? And so what the goal was to take this record that was going to be important to me and try and see if I could get anybody else to care. But once I started formulating it, and I remember I was at the retailer, I go, guys, look it, don't think of this as a one and done. Don't think of this as an anniversary book and then you're in, you're out, and it's done. Now, why? We can always do that. Every book that hits one of those milestones, we can do that and it becomes repetition. Let's see if we can't do something better than that. You've got plenty of people who either haven't read the book and or are lapsed readers. And part of it is like, the number's so big, I can't get into it, whatever else. Here's the first thing I'm going to do. Issue 296 and 297 are basically a Reader's Digest of all the issues prior to that. So if you want to get somebody in on Spawn, all you have to do is say, here's 296, 297, you're caught up. You're now with the rest of the pack. Don't worry about the other issues, the other 295 you missed. Okay, so there's now 2 issues, you can sell them. Then we've got sort of a prequel that sort of builds towards 300. So you get 298, 299, and 298, 299. I get to have a little bit of fun on the covers. So I get to remind people that it's like same numbers as when I jumped on Amazing Spider-Man. Then you get, which we know is going to sell, the big boy, 300. And oh, by the way, all of this to me is just leading to the book that is way more important personally, which is 301, sort of the culmination that sets a record. So that's 6 months. Instead of making it just, buy issue 300 and get out, right? Lots of books do that. Detective 1000 did it, right? I don't know what 999 or 1001 did, but it doesn't. I didn't hear much about it. And I wanted to basically sort of connect all of this and make this sort of a momentum play. And then if you look at some of the covers, especially the ones that Jerome Pena did, I wanted to just sort of plant this visual seed that more characters are coming, right? And that will culminate now here on the back half of 2021 with some of the stuff that basically got kickstarted, in issue 300. So I don't know. You put a plan, you never know whether it's going to work or not. And right now we had good success. We had the momentum. The goal was to say, hey, here's sales here. You hit your anniversary book. sales are going to go up, but when it comes down, can you make it so that it's a little bit higher? Can you essentially, like a stock in the stock market, can you raise the floor so that the floor is a little bit higher? And it worked. In the last 5-6 months, we're averaging over 100,000 sales, which from pre-300 is almost a 500% increase. Is it people buying multiple copies? I don't know. It's working. People seem to be happy. The retailer's okay. I mean, it's like we're going. Like, you know what? Worry about the guys that aren't selling 100,000 behind me, right? So
there you go.
I'm doing okay.
Well, you mentioned keeping the sequence and keeping those numbers going. I feel like there's a lot of publishers who are in a grind of redoing a number one. I'm curious, has there ever been a thought to do that? No. I probably know the answer, but yeah. No. And I'm also curious, is there too many variants per issue in your opinion? Any commentary on those two things?
Yeah. At times I may be pushing my luck on some of them. For sure, having 70 of them on Detective Comics 1000 seems like a lot to me. I don't know. I was just talking to somebody about this. If I was to ever go and do 70 covers, the only way I would do it is if it was the same cover, but I was just swapping out like, a store name on it. They've done it before where like maybe 100 stores say, hey, we want to have our store name on your cover.
Oh, like,
and
yeah.
You go, okay, I'm going to keep the image, but the little logo at the bottom,
sure.
Now the gravestone or whatever is going to have your store name or whatever, right? But for the most part, everybody's still seeing the same image over and over and over, right?
Right.
So, because look, at part of it is if you're going to do 70 Spawn covers by 70 artists, some of them are going to be awesome. And I'd rather not blow all those on one issue, right? I'd rather spread those out over like in the course of a year because I got to sell more than just this one issue. And it's one of the reasons why, Tom, the book, another thing I'm quite proud of, the book's $2.99, right? Just, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the increase in comic books, basically since Spawn started, comic books were $1 when we came out at Image. We were $1.95. So in almost 30 years, I've gone up $1 in 30 years, where the other guys have gone up a minimum of $3. I've gone up $1, they've gone up $3. So, and oh, by the way, that $3 hike, given that they were $1, that's 300%. I was at $2 and I've gone to $3. That's a 50%. They've gone up a minimum of 300%, while I've gone up 50% in the exact same time. Why? Because I can. I'm not a public company. I don't have to maximize profit. I make a good living. I've had people say, Todd, you could sell this for $3.99. I'm sure I could. Why? So I make a few extra dollars. Kids have gone through college. My house is paid for, and I've got a car, and I can put food on the table. What's the extra money going to do for me? Oh, I know what it will do for others. I'm taking an extra dollar from fans who have supported me. Why would I say thank you by raising the price to them, right? I can't, I don't know. Most of the decisions I make, Tom, I remember starving Todd McFarlane when he was 16 years old. I didn't have a lot of cash, and I had to make it go as far as I could. And I haven't really lost that. So it's like, yeah, I guess I can make more money. Why? I have a theory, Tom. Don't drink from the spigot if you're not thirsty. Oh. Don't turn it on if you're not thirsty. Because at some point, there's a thing called a rainy day, and the world gets in the way, and we're living in it. And you may actually need to find those extra dollars. But if you've been basically trying to take money from your fans every day of your life for 20 years, and now you really need it, I don't know that they're going to be enthused to help you out, right? So I would rather say, I haven't taken advantage of you. I haven't done 5 number 1 spawns and restarted it. I'm not up to $4.99 a comic book, blah, 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 blah. And oh, by the way, if time comes where I need to do it, I think most people go, yeah, he was reasonable all those years. It's okay. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And then I'll have the loyalty for another 10 years. right? Greed's not a good thing. So.
Absolutely. Comic fam, oh my goodness, I am enjoying this Todd McFarlane interview. I'm just clipping it out, letting you guys enjoy it little by little because there's so much value packed in there. The Todd father brought the heat, and we got like not even half of it released yet. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I also want to show you something cool. You're actually seeing my garage right now. This is where I started the YouTube channel 3 years ago. This is the studio. Doesn't look like the studio you've seen because we're moving. And I just wanted to thank the community. It's been 3 years this past month that we started the mystery mail call, and since I started doing content for the best community in the world. That's the Comic Fam. We're gonna be coming back with the podcast, with a bunch more videos, and really cranking things up a notch. It felt right to really start this transition with the Todd father on the show. But I just wanted to thank you for the amazing opportunity and for giving me the best job in the world. And no worries, you're gonna be getting your hot 10 and your trending videos on schedule, but we have a lot more stuff planned for you, so stay tuned. So when I tell you to hit the subscribe button, you gotta do it. It's gonna be cool stuff. Thanks, Comic Fam.